Hey everybody, this is Dave Cooper and we're in Washington, D.C. at the MMC, the Modular Mobilization Coalition's first multifamily set. This is the third time today we were streaming to show everybody how much progress we have here. But before we do that, I want you to hit your likes and share buttons on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And please always subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us grow offsite and helps us talk about what we love to talk about so much. And today, that is the coalition that Colby Swanson here had put so much effort into helping pull together. Colby, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, really appreciate what you guys do for the industry, man. I mean, we need more people to hear it and see and what we do in the modular industry, so this is fantastic.
Yeah, it really, I mean, this is fantastic, man.
Good
How
day.
awesome is this that, you know, how many months ago did you go down this path of saying, we need to bring the industry together, we need to form a coalition of manufacturers and suppliers and people that just want to participate on a larger level?
So, you know, back in, if everybody remembers, in March, heck, all the way back into February, the COVID crisis was really hitting us hard. Everybody was worried about having enough hospital rooms. We were worried about just having enough healthcare professionals and what was it, ventilators. Everybody was terrified about that. So, Vaughn Buckley and myself were at the World of Modular Conference. I think you were down there.
I was down there, yeah.
Yeah, and so we're sitting around thinking, trying to figure out how can the industry make a difference in this crisis? Like, what could we do that would really help, you know, our fellow citizens? And you know, we kind of like thought about, well, we're the modular industry, we can build stuff. Well, what do we want to build, and how are we going to do it most effectively? And you know, it really boiled down to all these different factories and different modular companies could either go out and buy, you know, create their own solution, or we could all band together and build one product and get a much more like widespread adoption of it. So that's where we started. Here we are, you know, 6-7 months later, coalition's still together, and now we're doing projects like this, multifamily projects. We're looking at all sorts of different types of projects that we can do as a coalition. So, yeah, we've come a long way.
So not only has the coalition brought the industry together, it's also created a stockpile of work and opportunity for everybody in the coalition. And I think that's what's really important to kind of highlight here, right? So this particular manufacturer that got this job out of the coalition, Simplex, was a member. So let's kind of talk about the nuts and bolts of this coalition. Like, if you can get into, you know, how many members do we have? Where are we growing to? What does the future look like?
So today we have 16 members, and those 16 members are operating about 24 factories around the U.S.
Okay.
We got some work going on, so you're going to hear some noise in the background. And those 24 factories, they're generally working on projects that are, you know, we're trying to work together to sell projects like this one, multifamily. And the way this one actually happened was, you know, this developer had been trying to build this project for a little bit of time, and they were trying to work through how they would do it, whether they would do a site build or modular. And once they finally came to the decision they're going to build this modular, they came to the MMC, and what we did was help them find a variety of factories that could help build this. And then we just sourced it to those 4 factories and said, which one of you has the capacity, has the production line availability, and then they priced it out. The developer picked their factory, and away we went. I mean, the amount of time that we were able to compress all that down to with the MMC, which is one of the things that's really great about the MMC, was that we were doing contracts in June, we were in production in July, and here we are setting boxes in September.
Right. So what is that? So that time frame, that's 90 days. We said this earlier on the show as well. I mean, that is one of the most incredible things about this whole process. So from the time the architect got, it was already somewhat designed modular. I don't know if everybody noticed that. We got the, hey, why don't you catch that a little bit? If you could pan back on the module that's being set. Hopefully we're not in everybody's way in what we're doing. So, all right, well, we got to show, we got the module being overhead. Don't step too far back.
Yeah,
all right. This is what it's all about. Right now, this is the 5th module being put in place. This is the 5th module being put in place. I don't know if we'll have an opportunity to walk indoors today, but I think we're probably going to have an opportunity to go inside, walk through everything, and see what's going on. And we got people tuning in, so it's good to see everybody.
Yeah, we started at 9 a.m. 6 spots, as you said. And this is why modular is great.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, part of the reason why people like modular, why more people need modular is the speed of construction. You can take your construction process and you can run a parallel path. Why they're building this podium, the factory's building the boxes.
That's right.
When the podium gets done, the boxes are shipped and they're getting set on top of that podium the next day. So,
right.
I mean, you just can't do that with typical site-built construction.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then the other thing, I really want to dive into this because that 90-day time frame, most manufacturers by themselves can't pull that off. Most, I mean, on a project like this. So this is the value. In the coalition, you guys have designers and architects. I mean, you have some serious players that are really all working together to take something. If they walked in your office today and said, hey, could you have something sitting there by what's 90 days?
By December. By January. Yeah.
Can you have that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the power of the network. You know, I mean, when you've got 24 factories that you can source projects out of, suddenly you've got a lot of options, right? And then when you back and you put on top of that design teams, engineering teams, set crews, all the other logistics that need to go along with it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any other place that you can go to and from 90 days signing a contract, you know, be setting boxes on your project. And I don't think you can do that in any other type of typical construction either. Even if you're doing site build and you've got your, you know, you've got everything lined up as closely as you can, you just are not going to be able to move that fast. You've got concrete that's got to cure. So this is just, I mean, this is the way it's going to move in the future. And we think the MMC represents the way the industry is actually going to help accelerate how fast we get into the construction space. We're still a really small part of the industry, right?
Oh, we're super small.
I mean, we got a lot of growth.
Oh, there's I always say, don't get me on my soapbox. There's only one way to go, and that's up in our industry, and that's the collaboration. Let's talk about some of the architects involved. Let's talk about how important it is to have architects and designers and engineers part of our industry.
Yep. You know, I mean, the typical industry architecture and design has obviously been built around the site build world.
Right.
And so there's not a really big group of designers and engineers that know how to work with modular. And we're lucky. You know, we've got a great team, Lab House, who started the modular design on this project, Sarah Logan and her teams. We've got EAC, which was the architect of record on this project. You know, they really had to work together because, I mean, you know, this is a coordinated effort that starts all the way back from the design phase, from the permitting phase, and you've got to be thinking about everything in the construction process right from the get-go. And so you've got to have a smart team.
Got it. So you're saying the mic's not...
So my mic might not be working.
This is all about live feed.
There we go.
So...
Always technical, John.
It is always technical. So, well, you know what? That's what it is. I mean, there's a lot of things happening. We got crane over our head. We have boxes being set. We got this piece of machinery behind us that's going up. I mean, it's a whirlwind of all kinds of stuff happening around us. So, we run into the same problems at IBS every once in a while as well. No? Are you getting sound? Perfect.
I think we're going to have to share mics from here on out. No big deal. We'll roll with the punches. That's what it is to be on a construction site, right? Solving problems.
Yeah, I can hear myself just well now.
All right, good.
So, all right. So with this collaborative effort that you have with all the designers, with the architects, we had one on this morning. I know you met with them in the early stages. How did that process begin with the modular mobilization, the MMC?
Yeah, so, you know, it depends on the project. Sometimes the owner, developer comes with an idea in mind. They may even come with some a mapped out plan of here's what we want to build and how we want to build it. You know, sometimes they don't come with anything. It's a clean slate. So we have a team on staff that can do either one of those options. Right. If we need to start from scratch, we will design that building from the bottom up and take care of everything in a modular fashion. If it's already on print, and we've got to do some modifications, that sometimes has to happen, oftentimes it does, then we'll do those modifications with the owner. You know, once we get to a point where everybody's happy with both the design of the project, we can start doing the engineering, right? And that's the second phase, and that's the probably most important phase in any modular project, is that you engineer it so that it's, you know, they call it design for manufacturing and assembly. The word that's not in there that needs to be in there is engineered, because that's what ties it all together.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, let's start from the beginning on this project, right? So we talked about the value of the MMC. We talked about how important the process is, because process is important. You elaborated on DFMA and adding an engineer segment to that. Let's set the stage for what we have coming up tomorrow. Right now we're standing on a podium. What was on this site prior to this being here?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys maybe could pan around and you could kind of see we're in downtown DC, and prior to this site being what it is today, it was just a collection of small older buildings. There were 3 of them that had to be demoed, and in that demo process, that started long ago, right when they finally started moving on this project. But you can see, we're sitting on a pretty high density area, right? This is urban infill at its best.
Yeah.
And if you can see the shape of the building too, it's not your traditional rectangular structure. This has got a triangle. There's a 5-point road in front of us. So there's a lot going on this project. It's a tight spot to build. It's a tight spot to set a crane that we got behind us. There's just a lot of challenges on this, and yet, I think this really is a great example of how you can take anything and modularize it if you start from the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. You're absolutely right, and we've been talking about it all day, the amount of traffic that's coming through here, and it is urban infill. And the greatest thing about this is it lowers the impact of time on site for this entire community.
Yeah.
We are surrounded by, multifamily units on this side. We have row houses and probably single family and multifamily homes all the way up and down the street. And I think a lot of people really have to understand, when communities come together, like big projects are happening, it causes a big disruption. Parking is not easy here. So the faster you can get in and the faster you can be done makes a big, big difference.
Yeah, you think about what we did here, not just MMC, but all the players involved. We start this project in June, officially with a contract. And the goal is by December, by the end of this year, this thing is finished and people are moving into it. I don't know how many people, maybe if you're just joining us, you don't know about the project itself. It's in Petworth. There's 44 modules that are going to get set over the next 6 to 8 days.
Right.
There's 15 living units and 16,000 square feet. Actually, I think there's
44 modules, 16 units, multifamily, 16,000
square feet. All of that, start to finish, June to the end of the year. That's something special, and that's something that the industry as a whole, and I'm not talking about just the modular industry, but the construction industry, we have got to figure out how to build faster, and that's one of the things that really is the modular industry can do great. Like I said, we can parallel path the manufacturing of the boxes as well as when the site work's getting done. So yeah, like you say, you've got all this, all these people trying to live their lives in the middle of a construction project. If we can take it from 9 months or 12 months down to 6 months, they're going to appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we give a couple shout outs to people that are joining us right now. We have Ashley Buchholt. What's happening, Ashley? He says, awesome. Jennifer, did you hear that? Tom Hardiman, the conversation. Let's see what we got here. Around the MMC all started at the Modular Building Institute event at World of Modular. So that's a good shout out for Tom Hardiman. We got Rick Hawkins. Rick says, definitely designed for the manufacturing process to turn 44 modules out in 90 days on site. Listen, people are starting to get it. Oh, here we go. We got Dr. Brent Musson. Love Dr. Musson. 24 factories are more than the total factories here on the left coast. 24 factories are more than what the total is on the factories on the left coast. Yeah, he's right. And you guys have them all there. And then Jennifer, of course, pushing DFMA and engineered.
Yeah, that's an important distinction. I do want to give a shout out to Tom and the Modular Building Institute. Look, we need more people getting involved in the association and supporting this type of stuff. And Tom and his team do an amazing job. And also I should call out the developer on this site is Community 3, local developer. Kudos to them for thinking, look, let's try this modular thing. This is new for them. It was new for the architect, EAC, and Megan and her crew. We've got North Point, which is our GC on site. Right. So there's a lot of people here are doing this for the first time, and that's always risky. That always requires somebody sort of stepping up to the plate and trying something and taking a little bit of risk. And that's where the association, that's where MMC can support you. And as an expert in doing this type of work, we can come to us. We'll help you build a building in six months. I don't care how many modules. We could probably do 10 times this if we wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to getting into some of these conversations tomorrow on what the timelines are to have this completed, and looking forward to coming back. But you know what? Some of the other things, we're going to talk to Vaughn Buckley's going to be here tomorrow, so we'll talk to Vaughn and some others, and we're really going to go through the layout of what we have here. I'm just looking now. They're getting ready to, I think, nope, they haven't pulled the cables out yet. But when they pull those cables out, we should be able to take a sneak peek in. You think they'll yell at us?
Yeah, they probably will, but that's all right.
You know, I've been yelled at before. Ask them if we can go inside there.
Hey, Jim, can we go inside?
So we've been trying to do these sets around, or getting in, but around the sets, but they're moving so quick. Every time we go live, there's a module set. Can we walk in, or is he getting ready to pull the cable?
He's good.
So we'll give you a little quick sneak peek inside of what's going on here.
You know, let me give a couple. I just want to give a shout out to some people. Ray Kadwadi really sort of helped spearpoint this project from the contract. There's Ray. Really appreciate all his hard work. And we got Jim Hoover upstairs here. He's with BBC. He's helping us on the set. Here's Bill. You guys talked to Bill earlier. You know, this is really quite a team effort. You know, when you start talking about a project being compressed down to 6 months.
You hold right there, Dave. I think this is the furthest we're going to get in.
So here we are inside.
Yeah, so we are inside. Dave, how's that picture looking? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Why don't we step out just a little bit so you get the light this way, and we'll stand here. So, all right, so we're actually inside one of these units, and of course we got product on the floor and everything here. We're going to go into this in detail tomorrow with some of the project managers, talk about how this is being built, show you these through bolts if you've never seen some of this. I mean, it's absolutely amazing the size of these bolts running through to tie everything to the steel podium. And we're also going to get into the mechanicals, the MEPs, and the finish of what Simplex has done here. But as you can see, I mean, come on. Windows are in, the trims are in. This is one of my favorite parts of modular. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're, what, 80, 85% there?
Yeah.
You know, of course, you got to get the flooring in. We've got some casework we still got to do, but I mean, the kitchen's finished. Lights are in, drywall's painted.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
This is one of the huge benefits of the modular industry, is that we can do so much of this work in a factory, in a controlled environment, and then bring it out here, unlock the door, and you're already 80% of the way there. Now, we still got some work, obviously. We've got mate lines,
yeah.
you know, and those sorts of things. There's always touch-up. There's always going to be work. But this is why modular really matters, and why modular really works, and why modular speeds up, you know, construction projects. And the MMC, you know, beyond just doing modular, by having that network of 24 factories around the country, you know, you come to us, I don't care how big you are and how many projects you got, we can figure out how to get those built, even on a tight timeline. You know, that's something this industry hasn't had. Usually it's independent factories, you know, maybe one or two. There's a few players out there that have more than that, but 24, yeah, this is something new. This is something exciting.
Absolutely. So, you know, you really said something that's super important there. If you're out there, you're a developer, you're an architect, designer, and you have a large project and you want to go volumetric, offsite modular, whatever the case is, that's another big value. There is a team of people and a network across this country now that can help you pull that project together and find a way to get it done for you. And I think that's really important to understand, because it's just not one factory in Pennsylvania. These are factories spread across the country, and also these factories have designers and architects that are outside of those factories collaborating together to make all this happen. One of the biggest problems in the industry is, how does an architect learn how to do the design work for offsite modular construction? They're starting to teach it, but they weren't teaching it in school when most architects went to school. So with that said, the best way to learn is to collaborate. Well, guess what we have? We have a collaboration of a lot of really brilliant minds from this industry. And this is, if you want to learn, this is the place to come and learn.
I mean, yeah, so you talk about, these aren't just 24 factories in Pennsylvania. You know, that happens to be where the Simplex factory is, but we've got factories in the Northeast, in the Southeast, in the Midwest, out on the West, in California, in Oregon, in Washington. So, I mean, you know, that's pretty unique to be able to have that all under one umbrella. And so as a big developer, and when I think about MMC and I think about what we're doing for the industry, if you're looking for high volume, high velocity, and high value, and you demand that in your projects, you know, MMC is the place to come to, because we'll be able to deliver on all that and do it, you know, in a compressed time frame. Sure, we've got work to do. We've got to design the right project. You know, we want to be doing projects that have a lot of modularity friendly, you know, repeatability to it. Right? At the end of the day, we're manufacturing these boxes, and the more we can sort of be smart about what we're manufacturing and keep the number of modules that are different to the same, the better cost we can get, the better quality we can get, the higher speed we can go. I mean, these things matter, right? Yeah. And in a day when lumber prices are shooting through the roof, you know, labor shortage is just seemingly never going to go away. Yeah, we've got to really think about smart designs, and we need more architects that are studying this in school.
That's right.
You know, we need more manufacturing expertise to come into our industry and help us manufacture better and faster. You know, there's just, you know, and I think that's one of the wonderful things about the MMC is that this was the industry coming together. You know, I used to use the analogy, and it still works, but early in the crisis, the building was on fire, and these were the leaders in the industry that ran into the building to, like, you know, do everything they could. So these are the folks that are going to lead us to that new future. And, you know, as MMC, we feel pretty proud about that, and we want to continue to do that and grow our presence across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so we got Miles Biggs made a comment. You guys know Biggs ideas?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, high volume, high velocity, high value. You know, and that kind of everything you just said right there. You know, and you're right. The increase of the lumber. We just had Greg Ugaldi on the show. Right? I know everybody's getting sick of seeing me today. It's the third time today, but you know what? When we're live on location, this is the time for everybody out there to take it all in and learn. You know, we're lucky enough and fortunate enough to have access to what's happening and being able to bring this live to all of you out there who normally maybe wouldn't have the opportunity to come to a job site like this. So, but you were saying with the lumber prices and with the cost of housing right now, it's making that affordability, attainability even more difficult moving forward. And by working with manufacturers and off-site, this is our belief, and it's been proven on several accounts, the speed and productivity that we can get out of off-site manufacturing can help be a part of the solution to solve that problem and to help keep those costs down.
Yeah, you know, and off-site is the right terminology. There's sort of on-site and off-site. And the